Gurpanima is bad. This is the world.
Jai Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Happy Gurpanima.
Hare
It fell on
Krishna.
Easter
Krishna. It did it?
and the day after Passover.
Wow, this is the
So
year.
people were actually thinking of God, hopefully.
Yeah.
So they were in that mindset while we were celebrating the anniversary
that's when Lord
of the
Caitanya
Lord.
appeared. That's what was happening. It just coincided with it.
Right.
They were all chanting anyway.
You know what
Wow.
else happened on Gurpanim? Years ago was the harmonic conversions.
Okay.
Okay, so the dawning of the age of Aquarius.
Oh, that everybody's been talking about
all the
since
new
the 70s.
well, it was actually in the late 80s.
Hare Krishna, Hare
And I was in Miami making rasgula
Krishna.
with a little kid, a little girl. And there were all these groups that had gotten together on the beach and all over, and the harmonic conversions. It's actually Gurpanim.
Hare Krishna,
So-
Hare Krishna. There's no coincidences. I was just
No,
messaging back and forth with Lance about that. Because Krishna, he's actively participating in the world, in the lives,
Right.
especially the lives of the devotees. Others, they're more like influenced by action and reaction, the modes of material nature. It's kind of like on a mechanical,
right.
but with the devotees, he's actively participating according to their devotion.
Right.
Hey, who's here?
You never
Madhu. Hey, Madhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
This is
It's late in the day over by you, yes?
Ananga Manjari Devi Dasi, a veteran of many wars, a survivor.
Time and time again, which just proves I'm too dumb to get my butt out of the material world.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare
Where you
Hare.
get that
Hare
special
Rama.
mercy from Lord Nityananda. Jai, right?
What do you say?
Absolutely.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna,
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna.
Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
I don't know, I can't say that I was a devotee in my younger years, but Krishna definitely made himself known in my everyday life.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. You mean before coming in contact with
Yeah.
the movement? This movement? Hare Krishna, Hare. Well,
Because
things
I'm
carry
so
over.
dumb, he wouldn't let me wander far this time
Well,
around.
things carry over from a previous life.
Right,
You know, that's why when you came in contact, what were you,
Yeah.
7 years old?
yeah,
Came in contact, it was like a match on dry leaves.
right,
This is from previous life.
yeah.
Yeah, picking up where you left off. It's never lost when anybody does.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna. It can get sidetracked for a while.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Yes.
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Householders,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
we
Rama
think
Rama,
they
Hare
get
Hare.
sidetracked. They don't necessarily get
Krishna, Hare
sidetracked.
Krishna.
Yeah, you get caught up in everyday
Hare
life,
Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare.
but
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
I've
Krishna,
embraced
Krishna,
my
Hare Rama,
cronehood, my retirement. I got life
Krishna,
insurance yesterday.
Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Now you're eternal.
Now I can just relax. I know that they'll come and
Can
take
relax
my
and die.
body and I
Relax
can
and
relax and die.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
I used to say, I retired, I did life backwards. I retired first. It was important to know where I was going at the time of death. So I got that down when I was about 20. Well, I joined when I was 23, but I really had it down. I was well on my way around 26. And then I said to Krishna, okay, so now, how long do I have? Now I'm ready.
Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna.
Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Let's go.
Yeah, Hare
Rama.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Listening to you.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna,
Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare Rama,
Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Oh,
Hare
and
Krishna,
when they
Hare
tell
Krishna,
you that if you die in your
Kṛṣṇa,
dream,
Kṛṣṇa.
supposedly
Hare
you
Hare,
die.
Hare Rama, Hare Rama.
Some Bhaktin in
Hare Krishna,
Brooklyn, New York,
Krishna,
and we had these bunk beds. I was on the top bunk, and I was sleeping, and I was right outside the temple, and I got shot. And I'm like, oh yes,
Wait
let me go.
a minute. Let me get this straight. You got shot?
In my dream,
Oh.
right outside the temple.
Oh, okay.
Okay, in my
You shouldn't
dream.
have left the temple that way.
Oh, right. But then I was like, oh, you know, if the big they say, if you die in your dream, I'm like, go for it. I'm ready. Go for it. But I'm still here.
Well, it's a waking dream and it's a sleeping dream. There's different levels of dreaming. Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. You getting dizzy yet with all the rocking?
Yeah.
It's nice though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Rocking.
It's lovely out here.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I didn't offer you anything. You came with your own refreshment.
I came with my own refreshment.
I took the bars out of the refrigerator.
Have juice will travel.
Out of the freezer, so they're defrosted.
Oh, the bars.
So remind me, don't forget.
Okay.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna.
Can I listen to you chant and take a look at this Caitanya Charitamrita?
Yeah, sure. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. I didn't necessarily bring that out because we were going to read from that. I was reading from it the other day and just already brought it in, but it's all good,
Right.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare. Hey, what you talking about? Haribol.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. We're going to chant. We're going to read a little something.
Now, the other day,
Krishna, Krishna.
I was told...
Yes, it is. It's the famous, universe famous, Ananga Manjari, Devi
infamous Brooklyn, New York, as opposed to the other Ananga Manjaris.
Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama.
So, Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, if you run out of the house and you can only take 3 books, take the Bhagavad Gita, the Srimad Bhagavatam, and the Caitanya Charitamrita. You can only take 2, take the Bhagavatam and the Caitanya Charitamrita. You can only take 1, take the Charitamrita. But this is more than 1 book, I thought. That's more than 1 book.
There's a 1 book volume.
But there's a 1 book volume. Maybe
there's a 1
complete
book
in Sanskrit.
Bhagavatam too. 1 book. Well, it's just very, very small print. Really thin paper. Hare Krishna, Hare Bhagavatam too, 1 volume. Everything in 1 volume. Sanskrit and everything.
I like the big.
Hare
I like
Krishna,
the
Hare
books.
Krishna, Krishna,
Hard
Hare
copy
Hare
books.
Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. What do you want to read? Let's read
I
something.
don't know.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. If we read, I have to get my glasses. Not that I need them that much, but it helps.
You chant and I'll take a look.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna.
Speaking of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and I open it up, and there he is. Nice to have your association. I hope you're having as fine a day as we are.
Krishna Caitanya.
Bhaktivinoda
Krishna
Thakur.
Caitanya.
The 16th chapter is summarized by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. We don't have to read the Bengali.
No, let's spare them that. If anybody's listening.
that's exactly the way I was thinking.
Krishna. Yeah, all right. So we want to do that? Let's do that. What is it? What's the name? What's the
No
name
hard and
chapter?
fast rules.
What's the name of the chapter?
Chapter 16, Lord Sri Caitanya Mahāprabhu tastes nectar from the lips of Lord Sri Kṛṣṇa.
Anchalila.
Anchalila.
This is a postgraduate course here.
Jump in, it's sweet wherever you taste from it.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. And who translated this?
Oh.
A.C. Bhaktivedanta.
Swami Prabhupada.
Jai.
So kind.
Hare Krishna, Hare
I mean, he
Krishna.
really
Krishna, Krishna.
had such compassion for all living entities to stay up late at night to make these translations for us, fulfilling the desire of his spiritual master, which empowers us to stay up all night to do good works and devotional service.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. You want to
Is there
start
a
out?
prayer
And you
that
know,
we're supposed to sing before we do this?
I don't like that word "supposed to." That's a
Okay.
student thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you know, Jai Jai Shri Caitanya,
Jaya Nityananda,
Jai Advaita Chandra,
Jaya Gora
Hari
Bhaktivranda,
Hari 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 Bo.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, why don't you start out?
The 16th chapter is summarized by Srila Bhaktivinoda.
Oh, sorry. If
Jaya
there's
Jaya
something...
Shri
What?
What am I doing wrong?
No, I'm not doing anything wrong.
No.
I
say,
Hare Krishna. I was just thinking that, you know, if something when we're reading comes up to discuss and go a little deeper, it's fine. You know what I mean? It's not, you don't have to read.
oh yeah,
You know,
no,
it's
you
like-
and me, we're no hard and
Yeah.
fast rules.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
This is a friendly get-together
So far.
until she kicks me out. It's been nice. I'll see you in a few days as soon as I recover from your company. I know the feeling.
Hare Krishna.
I say, the cat hides under the bed when somebody knocks on the door. I can't. I have to answer the door. Not that I want to be a cat, but I'd like to hide under the bed when some people come around. I'm getting better, though.
No, what is it? There's three types of, even among devotees, there's three types of, one type of association is still very materialistically entangled, although they're a devotee, they're trying.
Right.
So they respect it, but from a distance, you don't want to like become very like intimate with them.
Right.
You know, so that can be painful if you know you come in too close to someone like that because they don't know what they're thrashing around.
Right.
And you're there, and they take a swing. You know.
Right.
So you just you know, and then the other kind is friends, more or less on the same level of advancement, and we have a lot to share. And then there's very advanced devotees, and
You know,
respects to
reference
them,
and respect.
Yeah. So there's a lot of those ones that are still pretty rough. You know, it's kind of, and not too many of the really advanced ones.
And I find people are people no matter where you go. Okay, but once we take to Krishna consciousness and we join a group, I think that we are striving for the highest, and so if we can become a little disappointed in those we come into contact with. But then we have to remind ourselves,
So you just
people
move
are
on.
people.
Yeah, just move on.
And yes,
What is it in the those 12 steps where they have, you know, they're trying to get free from addictions?
right,
Is it, take what you can use, and just leave the rest.
right,
There's nothing there you can use
yeah,
in Krishna. It really correlates with Rupa Goswami's instruction: accept everything favorable, for Kṛṣṇa conscious and reject everything
And
unfit.
right.
Accept what you can use and leave the rest. So
Yeah.
yeah, and if somebody isn't very, they're still pretty rough, abusive or whatever it is they are, angry, abusive,
You don't
all this
have
stuff.
to.
If you can help them, help them. If
But-
not, highball.
Yeah. Well, it's like on the airplane when the mask drops down. First, you save yourself,
Yeah.
and then you can save somebody else.
Yeah.
So otherwise,
Here's the mask.
right.
Well,
so
someone may, if there's only one mask, someone may choose to do that, but yeah, I get the point. I get the point.
If it's not good association, then you wish them well. You
It's like
shot them on the line with them. You know.
Yeah, you be respectful but you keep
But you don't have to
distance.
invite them to dinner. You don't have to hang around with them.
Yeah, and sit around, discuss, and read.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing is like a lifeboat. When there's a shipwreck, you have to be in the lifeboat yourself before you can reach out.
Right.
Otherwise, if you're not situated good in the boat, they'll pull you in.
That's it.
So.
Yes, I thought of the lifeboat, but I knew the airplane analogy.
They're both good. They're both the same.
But that's,
Same
basically.
idea.
Basically, save yourself so you can save others.
And to go even further, if you understand the mission is to spread love of God, right? Then how about getting love of God? Well, it's like I'm here to spread it, but I don't have it. But how about really, like becoming blissful? If you're going to spread joy and bliss, why don't you just become blissful? And then it's no extra effort.
I refuse to be miserable. Mina said the other day, I refuse to be miserable. I said, this is my new motto. That was so just what I needed to hear and to live by right now.
Oh, Kṛṣṇa!
I always go for the joke. They sometimes fall flat, but I will always strive for a laugh first and foremost.
What is it? Yuck is a buck.
I don't know. I'm at
Can you hear that?
some people.
Yuck is a buck. In sales world, yuck is a buck.
I
If you
don't
can
know.
get the person to laugh a little bit, it's worth money.
Oh, that's horrible.
No, it's a sales technique.
Oh, okay. I'm so not a fashion.
I'm sorry, you almost got through a couple words.
How mundane. A yuck is a buck. Here I am trying to be all.
Kṛṣṇa.
Refine our characters. The only thing we can do for the world is work on ourselves.
Yeah, but it's everybody else's fault.
What?
I'm a victim. It's everybody else's fault, the condition I'm in. I'm a victim. When I was growing up, this happened, and then later on and that happened, then I came to the movement, and that happened, and it's everybody else's fault.
No, you're so beyond that, my dear. Sometimes that comes up. My experience was that I could keep all that at arm's length and go on chanting rounds and reading, but eventually that would catch up and I would become shallow. That this stuff certain things within ourselves needed, I call it digesting. You have to be able to sit with a memory of a trauma or without having your insides turn when it runs through your head. And I am glad I did, because I think that would have held me back and meant, another lifetime or something. That we're whole persons and we have to deal with ourselves as a whole. But we
usually-
don't hold on to it in
it's usually-
victimhood.
Whatever it is usually connected to feelings and emotions.
Right.
And they're stored up. And then, like I had that experience yesterday, I was watching something for a few minutes, just some light little thing, and the person looked just like someone that I knew in the 80s that I had a difficult situation with. And I was like, is that them? You know, and there's all this stuff came up, like, But really, it's the emotions. And you can't get rid of the emotions, they're just misplaced.
Right.
So when the emotions are placed, when you have the proper perspective, that all those emotions are really meant for Kṛṣṇa and Kṛṣṇa conscious association, Kṛṣṇa, then it takes the sting out of the material thing. It's like, you don't have to deny the emotion, the feeling, it's just misplaced. Like,
Right.
you know, who knows, that person's probably dead now. I mean, I don't know, they might have already passed away. You know, it's like that with everything, it's just misplaced. So the impersonalists, they want to get rid of the emotions. But the devotee they're practicing seeing how these emotions really belong to Kṛṣṇa. So you don't have to deny them, it's just, oh, it was connected the wrong way, and you just like reconnect it to Kṛṣṇa. Oh, Kṛṣṇa belongs to Kṛṣṇa. It doesn't belong to that. That's an illusion.
Or we're hurt because we are identifying from false ego.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Then the baby inside starts to cry. I didn't get what I wanted. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Kṛṣṇa.
But
Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa Kṛṣṇa, Hare Hare.
what about if what we want is something to benefit the devotees and our Kṛṣṇa consciousness? And
Don't over endeavor.
right. Okay, that's the answer.
Yeah.
That
Don't
was the
overdo it.
question. Yeah, emotions. I call it displaced
I don't have a problem
emotions.
with no over endeavor because I don't make any endeavor. Oh, God. Oh, Hare Kṛṣṇa.
Don't over endeavor.
All right,
I
so
can't over endeavor.
since you're not reading, I'll read. No, you go ahead. and
Oh,
read.
well, we're talking.
I won't
We're
talk. I
reading.
won't talk
No,
anymore.
we're
I'll be
fine.
quiet.
We're just, you're sitting in on our visit.
Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa Kṛṣṇa, Hare Hare.
And out of
of
the depths of my conditioning comes a scene from Mr. Rogers, and I'm so glad we had this time together. That was Carol Burnett. And that's terrible that I actually can place the song and know the names.
There you go.
The 108 names of Kṛṣṇa. How many names does he have? More than 108. That's a question.
I'm ready. You gonna read?
Okay.
All right.
We're going to start this again. The 16th chapter, Antya-lila, for the advanced. The 16th chapter is summarized by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur Chai in his Amrita Pravaha Bhasya. I'm probably saying that wrong. I probably know the words if I heard someone say it. Please excuse me. When the Bengali devotees of the Lord returned to Jagannath Puri, a gentleman named Kalidas, who was an uncle of Raghunath Das Goswami, went with them to see Sri Caitanya Mahāprabhu. Kalidas had tasted the remnants of food of all the Vaishnavas in Bengal, even Jadu Thakura. Because of this, he received the shelter of Sri Caitanya Mahāprabhu at Jagannath Puri. When Kavi Karnapura was only 7 years old, he was initiated by Sri Caitanya Mahāprabhu into the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. He later became the greatest poet among the Vaishnava Acharyas. when Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu ate the remnants of food known as Vallabha Bhoga, he described the glories of such remnants of the Lord's food and then fed all the devotees the prasad. Thus they all tasted Adharamrita, the nectar of the lips of Lord Sri Krishna. Ah.
Yeah, I was thinking that's like the value of devotee association, advanced devotees, is you want to taste what they're tasting.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just the food, it's when they speak and their realizations. You want to, because they're manifesting a relationship with Krishna, and it's attractive, and you want to taste what they're tasting. But it also translates down into accepting remnants of foodstuffs.
I tried to seek out those that I see are sanely blissful. They're dealing with, and they're making advancement. That they've taken up the process and they're sticking to the process.
They're experiencing
and
something.
Yeah, and
blissful. Mm. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Yeah.
What Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu ate the remnants of food known as, but it says bhoga. But I thought bhoga was something that wasn't offered. But because it's
That's interesting, you notice that. I don't know. He was always taking prasadam from the Jagannath deities.
right.
So I don't know what Vallabha Bhoga is, but my
Maybe
experience
that's the
is,
offering, like Raj Bhoga.
Oh,
or,
yeah, Vallabha Bhoga. Yeah, probably is. And my experience is when there's a question like this and you don't know, within a very short time the answer comes somewhere.
Yeah.
Like within the next few days,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe even tonight, or maybe now when we're reading,
Mm-hmm.
you'll get some answers what Vallabha Bhoga is.
So we speculate that that's what it means.
Well, no,
Makes
we're
sense
trying to
to me.
understand. That's
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
speculate with love and devotion.
Ask and you shall
Speculating
receive.
is not
Ask and you
necessarily
shall
a bad
receive.
thing.
Yeah, so what is this? You ask. I want to know.
We can go on anything. So I'm not going to read the Bengali.
Okay.
Okay.
How about,
Text 1.
yeah, we read like, there's not very many purports here. You
No.
just read.
Do you want to find something with purports?
No. I was thinking because I want to read too. Like maybe this, and then the next page, and the next page.
Okay.
And I can
Give it to you when.
Yeah.
I want to do that.
I know you do. I have to fight for the mercy today. I know. Hare Krishna, Hare
Let me offer my respectful. I had this vision of you knocking me out with a pole and taking the book, and as I laid here,
Just now?
regaining consciousness.
Just now?
Yeah, I'll share my reading with you. You don't have to knock me out with the
Hare
pole.
Krishna, Hare
I told you I'm always going for the joke first.
Krishna.
Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, who has personally tasted the nectar of ecstatic love for Krishna, and then instructed his devotees how to taste it. Thus he enlightened them about ecstatic love of Krishna to initiate them into transcendental knowledge. All glories to Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
What was that? How he initiated them into transcendental knowledge? What was it? Was it 2 verses here? What was
He
it?
personally tasted the nectar of ecstatic love for Krishna,
Mm-hmm.
and then instructed his devotees on how to taste it.
Mm-hmm.
And thus he enlightened them about this ecstatic love of Krishna to initiate them into transcendental knowledge.
So the tasting is first, then the knowledge.
The knowledge of how to taste it. I think that went simultaneously.
No. First he tasted, to show them what is
Well,
it?
first he tasted,
First he's tasting.
and then
what?
then he instructed them how to taste it.
All right. Okay.
You know, it's like
instructed them how to taste.
Right.
Okay.
So don't bite into the orange rind. First you have to peel it. Looking for an analogy.
Yes and no.
Or to chant Hare Krishna and follow the four regulative principles, and then
Yes and
get
no.
up early.
Yes and
So once you have the sadhana, then
yes and no.
you're
yes and no.
in
yes
a
and no.
situation where you can
But Lord Chaitanya is
understand
not
and
teaching
receive.
like that. He's not
No.
teaching like that.
well, I
He's
was
not teaching sadhana.
no, I was trying
He's
to
teaching by example,
right.
by showing, by letting them see him in
right.
ecstasy.
Well, in the same way, Prabhupada taught us by example, by doing what he did, and then said, "Do like me." Right?
Yeah, not imitate.
I mean, not
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
not that
No,
we're
read
on
that
that
little section again.
level.
That's very important. I think
Okay.
that's like really significant.
Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto Sri Caitanya Mahāprabhu, who personally tasted the nectar of ecstatic love for Kṛṣṇa, and then instructed his devotees how to taste it. Thus, he enlightened them about ecstatic love of Kṛṣṇa to initiate them into transcendental knowledge.
Yeah. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
You understand? Okay.
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Text 2. Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya. Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra. That's the verse. Jaya Dvaita Chandra. Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrenda.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
I talk in Bengali. All glories to Sri Caitanya Mahāprabhu. All glories to Lord Nityananda. All glories to Advaita Acharya. And all glories to all the devotees of the Lord. Jai. Sri Caitanya Mahāprabhu thus stayed at Jagannath Puri in the association of his devotees, always merged in ecstatic devotional love. The Puri's a very special place.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
The next year, as usual, all the devotees from Bengal went to Jagannath Puri, and, as in previous years, there was a meeting between Sri Caitanya Mahāprabhu and the devotees. Along with the devotees from Bengal came a gentleman named Kalidas. He never uttered anything but the holy name of Kṛṣṇa. Kalidas was a very advanced devotee, yet he was simple and liberal. He would chant the holy name of Kṛṣṇa while performing all his ordinary dealings. When we used to throw dice in jest, he would throw the dice while chanting Hare Krishna. Purport. In this connection, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakur warns the men of this age not to imitate the jesting of a Mahabhagavat, like Kalidas. If someone imitates him by playing with dice or gambling while chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, he will certainly become a victim of offenses unto the holy name. As it is said, Harinam Bale Pape Pravriti, one must not commit sinful activities on the strength of chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Very important. That was my addition. Very important. Playing with dice is certainly gambling, but it is clearly said here that Kalidas did this only in jest. A Mahabhagavat can do anything, but he never forgets the basic principles, Therefore it is said, Vaishnavara Kriya Mudra. I won't subject you to this.
Yeah,
therefore it is said, no one can understand the activities of pure devotee. We should not imitate Kalidas.
You know, that really, you can see the level of disciple and students Prabhupada was speaking to that he had to say that. Because I remember really clear. Do you remember the 7-Up incident? No. Prabhupada was on a long flight. I think it was in the mid-70s. Yeah, because I was in Los Angeles then. And he had a little upset stomach. So he wanted something like bubbles to eat. So he asked the stewardess for a little 7-Up to treat it like medicine. And the disciples that were with him got all excited. And they immediately told everybody all over the world.
Now we can drink 7-Up.
Prabhupada drinks 7-Up. And I remember in L.A. they went out and they bought it by the caseload. So they wanted to know, can you offer it to the deity? 7-Up. So that's the level of
right.
Yeah.
And what I thought, because I like backgammon and I like Yahtzee, but I don't gamble on it. And you listen to classes, or so that we can have these
you're a
pastimes.
so it's all right for you.
Oh, don't. Not even in jest.
Where's that pole?
But I know, right, where's that stick? But like we were talking, I was talking. I said before, sanity. So we can pass the time with our friends by doing something like that, but still discussing Kṛṣṇa and...
Yeah, well, if you have friends that like to do that, then...
Right.
Yeah.
It is great fun.
There's friends that like to do that.
And
there's friends that like to go swimming. There's friends that
right.
like to go out and eat in a nice vegetarian restaurant with a devotee cook in the kitchen. I mean,
right.
It's everybody's different.
There's
except
life,
what's favorable,
so
except what's unfavorable.
Here they sometimes played dice, but he certainly played in jest. So just for the
Maharaj
fun.
Yudhisthira, he wasn't playing in jest.
No,
he
wasn't.
had a gambling problem, and he was the emperor of the world.
This was something altogether different.
Yeah.
So we don't encourage this, but if you saw two people discussing Kṛṣṇa conscious, what they were reading, you can still engage in Kṛṣṇa conscious.
You should. You have to.
Yeah, yeah.
If you have these other things that you do, you have to.
Yeah.
You really have to.
Oh, now I can
There you
play
go.
dice.
All right.
Now I can.
Well, that's like, I was thinking about that.
But
also,
you're right. That's a wrong understanding.
Well, there's different ways to look at things.
But we're on different levels.
There's different perspectives on everything. Another perspective, I was thinking about this the other day, is like with the alcoholic. He likes to drink alcohol. The alcoholic is a disease. They can't stop. They need medical help to stop because blood changes.
Right.
So, Prabhupada said to tell him, if he can stop, great. If not, that whenever he drinks, he's looking for Kṛṣṇa. And then eventually, the taste he's looking for is Kṛṣṇa. And eventually, he'll get a higher taste from Kṛṣṇa than from the drinking. And so that's there too.
Right.
So if somebody actually has a gambling problem and they can't stop, then, look, when we're nice, think of Kṛṣṇa, okay? And then eventually, there's different ways to deal with things.
Right.
That's one way. I'm sure there's other ways to look at it. It depends. If somebody's a sannyasi, they really wouldn't be setting a very good example playing dice somewhere. It's just,
no, but
if they're a Vaishya or even a Sudra,
Yeah, a Vaishya, right.
Or Sudra, even.
But
they have different tastes that they have.
Well, like, very judgmental. I'm very judgmental, but I don't voice it.
You're judgmental?
Yeah,
On
you see
others?
something, yeah, you size it up, say this is...
For them, it's not for me.
For that, yeah, that they might do, yeah, be doing that. We're striving for perfection here. So we seeking out people who are also striving for perfection.
Yeah, it's the taste, just what we were reading about. Who has a taste, an actual taste in their chanting, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that, when you're saying, well, how does he teach? Is it, you know, you follow the regular principles and all that? Yeah, that's the path. It's the path of Vaidhi Bhakti,
Right.
which Prabhupada taught. But he did talk about briefly another path, but his mission at the time, he didn't teach the other path, the Raga Nuga. It's more spontaneous.
Right.
And it comes eventually, more spontaneous. But when I'm looking at with Caitanya Mahāprabhu, how was he teaching? He was teaching through his pastimes of loving exchange with the devotees also. Like, when I think about this Kalidas, we'll see what happened between him and Kalidas. And there's ecstatic love there. And that it becomes manifest in relationship. And it's interesting. Mahāprabhu is such an incredible incarnation because he's Kṛṣṇa, but he's acting like a devotee.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God. It's so, oh my goodness. Hare Kṛṣṇa. Whoa. Huh. Interesting.
And that...
Devotees like to talk about these things, you know.
What else is there to discuss? Kalidas was an uncle of Raghunath Das Goswami. Throughout his entire life, even in his old age, he tried to eat the remnants of food left by Vaishnavas.
Hold on. We have a scholar, Madhu Sudanadas. He is a scholar. And thank you, Madhu. That is so sweet. He researched what this Vallabha Bhoga is.
Ah, Jai!
And he says it's the first offering to the Lord in the morning. And it's his breakfast at the Jagannath Temple.
Okay. So we speculated right.
Yeah, we were close.
Thank you. Now, is Vallabha Bhoga, is the first offering in the morning always considered Vallabha Bhoga? Sending you back to your research.
Why would it be?
I would think it would be.
Yeah.
You know, because it says at the Puri temple, Vallabha Bhoga would be
anywhere. You mean
anywhere.
Like here in New Raman Ridge?
Right.
Oh.
Would that be considered?
I would think so, yeah.
I would think so.
Yeah, Raj Bhoga is always Raj
Second
Bhoga.
speculation of the day.
Yeah. Sundar Artik is always Sundar Artik.
Right.
Mangal Artik is always Raj. Yeah, I would
That's
think so. Although there's 52 offerings, they all have names. At Jagannath Puri, there's 52 offerings. This Bhoga, that Bhoga, the other Bhoga here.
Oh,
there,
so
Bhoga,
they
everywhere,
would have.
Bhoga.
Oh, I never got down there.
Hare Krishna.
I didn't. What a fun temple. What a fun place to be. Yeah, 52 offerings.
You know,
And they
offering.
have huge amounts, right?
Oh, it's never a lack, yeah.
Pots that
Have to stand on a ladder to stir
to
the pot.
stir it.
And the prasadam, before it's distributed, goes to a small temple for Durga.
Mm.
You know the story behind that, right?
No,
No? Oh, it's really neat. Jayapataka told it.
do tell.
Narada Muni managed, he was visiting the spiritual sky, and he managed to convince Lakshmi Devi to give him some prasadam directly from the plate of Narayan. And she said, she said no. You know that story?
But
Yeah.
do tell.
She said, no way. He has given me strict instructions not to. I can't. So they arranged something where she gave but she didn't give, or she wasn't looking and he took some. I don't know, somehow he got a little bit of the direct Mahāprasādam and he ate it. He became so ecstatic. He was singing, he was all over creation everywhere. Kṛṣṇa, 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 Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Kṛṣṇa. And Lord Shiva saw him. And he said, wait a minute, what's going on with you? Because they're brothers, what's happening? What's happening, man? And Narada said, oh, I just got some prasadam directly from the plate of Narayan. And Lord Shiva got angry. He gets angry easily. He says, what, you got something you didn't get any for me?
Right.
He said, oh, and he was getting angry. It's time to dissolve the universe. Well, wait a minute. And he looked, he hadn't washed his hands. Under his fingernail was a little bit of just a tiny crumb. He said, look, I have something. And Lord Shiva took it. And he became ecstatic. He started playing his drum, dancing all around. And then Parvati came. And she said, what's going on here? What's happening? And Lord Shiva told her, Narada got this. And he goes, and she said, I'm the other half of your body, and you didn't give any to me? And so there wasn't any left. So she took a vow at that time. She said, I know what it feels like not to get the prasadam of the Lord. And it's horrible. It's a terrible, terrible feeling. So every offering that comes out of Jagannath Puri, she says, I take a vow that every living entity will have the opportunity. So the prasadam, when it comes from Jagannath, it goes through her little temple. She makes sure that it's available, and then it's distributed.
Oh,
isn't that cool?
Jai, that's so
Kṛṣṇa,
wonderful.
Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa. Hari Hari, Hari Rama, Hari Rama. Rama Rama, Hari Hari.
So you were talking about emotions, and just in that exchange, you see feelings, the genuine feelings of the individual, of the personality.
Yeah, you're enjoying something. What's making you so blissful? I want some, right? I want some. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Kṛṣṇa.
Yeah, I love how that the Lord himself worship, like in Goloka Vrindavan, they still worship Narayan, or Lord Vishnu. So there's still religiosity.
Well, no, because they're protecting Kṛṣṇa.
Yeah. But that
that's you pray to Vishnu to protect Kṛṣṇa.
To take up this process is truly to live from that which is eternal within you, and properly, and what's eternal, so that you enjoy cooking for the Lord. You can still be cooking for the Lord. You enjoy cooking for your friend. So it's different relationships. Ever sweet from any place you taste it. So this is so Kalidas ate the next verse. Kalidas ate the remnants of food of as many Vaishnavas as there were in Bengal. He was busy. That's a lot of lunch dates. No, I should not say that.
He was
in
eager
a mundane way.
He was eager for the mercy.
For a joke, what?
He was eager for the mercy.
Yeah. So, wise to have done that. I would just imagine, how would you do that? Stand outside the prasadam hall?
Keep reading.
Go up
to explain. This is fascinating.
He would go to all the Vaishnavas born in Brahmin families, be they neophyte or advanced devotees, and present them gifts of first-class edibles. He would beg remnants of food from such Vaishnavas, and if he did not receive any, he would hide. After the Vaishnavas finished eating, they would throw away their dishes or leaves, and Kalidas would come out of hiding, take the leaves, and lick up the remnants. He would also take gifts to the homes of Vaishnavas born in Sudra families. Then he would hide and eat the remnants of food they threw away in this manner. There was a great Vaishnava named Jadu Thakur, who belonged to the Punamali caste. Kalidas went to his home, taking mangoes with him. Purport. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur remarks that both Kalidas and Jadu Thakur are worshipped at a place called Sripatapati in the village known as Bedo or Baduya. This village is situated about 3 miles south of the village of Krishnapur, the birthplace of Raghunath Das Goswami, which is about 1 mile west of the Biandel junction of the Burdwan line. A post office there is named Devanandapura. Jadu Thakur used to worship the deity of Sri Madan Gopal. The deity is still worshipped by one Rama Prasad Das, who belongs to the Ramayet community. It is said that the deity worshipped by Kalidas had been worshipped until now in the village of Sankhya on the bank of the Saraswati River by the deity, but the deity has been taken away by a gentleman named Matilala Kattopadhyaya from the village of Triveni. The deity is now being worshipped at his place. So that's in real time when he's writing this purport.
Mm-hmm.
And the junction, that sounds like a train line.
Mm-hmm.
I love how you used to be able to write somebody in India and say, Mathura, third house past the Goshala. This name, third house past the Goshala, and it would get to them. Kalidas presented the mangoes to Jadu Thakur and offered him respectful obeisances. Then he also offered respectful obeisances to the Thakur's wife. While Kalidas went to Jadu Thakur, he saw the saintly person sitting with his wife. As soon as Jadu Thakur saw Kalidas, he likewise offered his respectful obeisances unto him.
Oh. Kṛṣṇa Caitanya. Okay. Kṛṣṇa Caitanya. After a discussion for some time with Kalidas, Jadu Thakur said something to him in sweet words. I belong to a low caste, and you are a very respectable guest. How shall I serve you? If you permit me, I shall send some food to a Brahmin's house, and there you may take prasad. If you do so, I shall then live very comfortably. So this Jadu Thakur, he's saying, I belong to a low caste, and you're a respectable guest. I don't think it would be good for you to actually eat at my house, because I'm low caste. But if you permit me, I'll send some food to a Brahmin's house, and you can take prasadam there. And if you do so, then I'll be happy. Kalidas replied, my dear sir, please bestow your mercy upon me. I have come to see you, although I am very fallen and sinful. Simply by seeing you, I have become purified. I'm very obligated to you for my life is now successful. My dear sir, I have one desire. Please be merciful to me by kindly placing your feet upon my head, so that the dust of your feet may touch it. Jadu Thakur replied, It does not befit you to ask this of me. I belong to a very low caste family, whereas you are a respectable, rich gentleman. Kalidas then recited some verses which Jadu Thakur was very happy to hear. So these are verses that Kalidas is reciting. Even though one is a very learned scholar in Sanskrit literature, if he is not engaged in pure devotional service, he is not accepted as my devotee. But if someone born in a family of dog-eaters, not to speak of cow-eaters, dog-eaters, is a pure devotee with no motives for enjoyment through fruitive activity or mental speculation, he's very dear to me. All respect should be given to him. Whatever he offers should be accepted, for such devotees are indeed as worshipable as I am. And this is Kṛṣṇa speaking in the Hari Bhakti Vilas. Another verse. See, Kalidas is trying to make a point here. Jadu Thakur is saying, no, there's a caste problem here with castes. I can't. He's saying, no, there's more than caste consciousness going on here. A person may be born in a Brahmin family and have all 12 Brahminical qualities, but in spite of being qualified, he is not a devotee of the lotus feet of Lord Kṛṣṇa, who has a navel shaped like a lotus. He's not as good as a Chandala, who has dedicated his mind, words, activities, wealth, and life to the service of the Lord. Simply to take birth in a Brahmana family or to have Brahmanical qualities is not sufficient. One must become a pure devotee of the Lord. If a Swapacha or Chandala is a devotee, he delivers not only himself but his whole family, whereas a Brahmin who is not a devotee but simply has Brahminical qualifications cannot even purify himself, nor to speak of his family. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. And that's from the Bhagavatam.
So right there, there's no should, or that there's you're not stuck in that societal.
Yeah, the Brahmin thing. Yeah. Yeah, and then, so I was saying, well, Brahminical qualifications, I don't remember, but they discussed later what the Brahminical qualifications are, if I remember. It's in the Bhagavad Gita, too. So just being, like, clean and honest and self-controlled.
Right.
And studying the Vedas, it's not enough. It has to be that devotion, that ecstatic mood. So, yeah, and that's what's going on with Caitanya Mahāprabhu. He's the embodiment of that. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Okay, one more.
No, go.
So here he is. Kalidas is fired up. He's pulling all these verses, and so another verse that he presents to Jadu Thakur. He says, this is a quote. He's quoting a verse. My dear Lord, anyone who always keeps your holy name on his tongue is greater than an initiated Brahmin.
Hare
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. We have hope. Although he may be born in a family of dog-eaters and therefore by material calculation be the lowest of men, he is glorious nevertheless. It's interesting that the society at the time was so elevated. To them, a low-class person was a dog-eater. And, of course, that's totally obnoxious. But even lower than that is a cow-eater.
Yeah.
And that's what's rampant in the West, is this eating of the cows. But here, it was a horrible thing to be a dog, which, it's not too cool to be a dog-eater. But what to speak of a cow-eater? Oh, Krishna. So, it was a terrible thing. He was in this family of dog eaters.
Mm.
The lowest of men. That is the wonderful power of chanting the holy name of the Lord. He keeps always on his tongue, he's greater than a Brahmin. One who chants the holy name is understood to have performed all kinds of austerities. He has studied all the Vedas. He has performed all the great sacrifices mentioned in the Vedas. He has already taken his bath in all the holy places of pilgrimage. And it is he who is factually the Aryan.
Right. That's true Aryan. In consciousness
Okay, so
and character.
here it comes. Hearing these quotations from the revealed scripture, Srimad Bhagavatam, Jadu Thakur replied, yes, this is true, for it is the version of Shastra. It is true. However, for one who is genuinely advanced in devotion to Kṛṣṇa. So he said, but I'm not. So, such a position may befit others, but I do not possess such spiritual power. I belong to a lower class, and I have not even a pinch of devotion for Kṛṣṇa. An interesting
And this is
transaction.
Kalidas speaking.
Yeah, this is interesting back and forth between the two. There's a long purport here with lots of quotes. I was only going to say we could just go for an hour, but I'm having so much fun. We could go a little bit longer. So what do you think? Are you tiring out?
No, I'm
Okay,
here.
go. Good. All right. Hey, Go Haridas is here. Or Prasad. Hey.
Hi,
Haribol.
But I'm not going to read all those quotations.
Why not? They're not that much.
Well, I mean, I'll read the English.
All right. If it looks
We're
familiar.
not going to subject you to.
Yeah, wade in if it looks familiar.
Okay. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda. They come back to me every once.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Such a position may benefit others, but I do not possess such spiritual power. I belong to a lower class and have not even a pinch of devotion to Kṛṣṇa. In this statement, Jadu Thakur presents himself as being born in a low-caste family and not having the qualifications of a bona fide devotee of Lord Kṛṣṇa. He accepts the statements declaring a low-born person highly exalted if he is a Vaishnava. However, he feels that these descriptions from Srimad Bhagavatam appropriately describe others, but not himself. Jadu Thakur's attitude is quite befitting a real Vaishnava, for a Vaishnava never considers himself exalted, even if he factually is. He is always meek and humble and never thinks that he's an advanced devotee. He assigns himself to a lower position, but that does not mean that he is indeed low. Sanatana Goswami once said that he belonged to a low-caste family, for although he was born in a Brahmin family, he had associated with Mlechas and Yavanas in his service as a government minister. Similarly, Jadu Thakur presented himself as someone who belonged to a low caste, but he was actually elevated above many persons born in Brahmana families. Not only is there evidence for this in Srimad Bhagavatam, as quoted by Kalidas in verses 26 and 27, there is also considerable evidence for this conclusion in other Shastra. For example, Mahāprabhu, Vanaparva, chapter 180, it states, if the characteristics of a Brahmin are found in a Sudra and not in a Brahmin, that Sudra should not be known as a Sudra, and that Brahmin should not be known as a Brahmin. Similarly, in the Vanaparva, chapter 211, it is said, If a person born in a Sudra family has developed the qualities of a Brahmin, such as Satya, truthfulness, Sama, peacefulness, Dhamma, self-control, and Arjava, simplicity, he attains the exalted position of a Brahmin. In the Anusasana Parva, chapter 163, it is said, if one is factually situated in the occupation of a Brahmin, he must be considered a Brahmin, even if born of a Kshatriya or a Vaishya family. O Devi, if even a Sudra is actually engaged in the occupation and pure behavior of a Brahmin, he becomes a Brahmin. Moreover, a Vaishya can become a Kshatriya. Therefore, neither the source of one's birth, nor his reformation, nor his education is the criteria of a Brahmin. The vrata, or occupation, is the real standard by which one is known as a Brahmana.
You know, Bhaktisiddhanta, he wrote a very long essay about this. You know, the Brahmana and Vaishnava essay?
Not
Oh, it's beautiful.
offhand.
It's great.
I will
it's,
have to.
It's
I will
not
look
a short,
it up.
It's long. It's like would be a small book, because at the time he was preaching, it was a big problem.
This was yes.
This was a specific problem, and boy, he just. It's wonderful. So when I'm hearing Prabhupada quote these, it's like I'm fairly certain that when Prabhupada read his spiritual master's essay, and now he's presenting the same thing Bhaktisiddhanta presented, but in this way. Because this is like the same way
in this context.
The way it progressed, the argument progressed in his essay. And it's really beautiful to see that you know, how Prabhupada was hearing from his spiritual master and then speaking according to time, place, and circumstance what he heard. You know? And it's really amazing.
Well, that's our perfection is in that.
Beautiful.
Should I keep on going?
Yeah.
It's a nice meditation.
Yeah.
It's just
yeah.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to stop soon, though.
No, we
I
are
can
going to
feel the
finish
pressures
this up.
coming. You know,
Okay.
coming.
Yeah, we'll finish this up,
Okay.
and it's a lovely thing for me to meditate on for
Okay.
the rest of the day. And you said that
Rest of your life.
I am well, absolutely. Some social media platforms amongst Indians, this is still a difficulty with them. So now you can cite.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're still
And
struggling with this.
More and more of the Indians are coming into the movement, and so they're bringing this, because that's their experience, and so they have to be helped with that. Yeah.
We have seen that a person who is not the son of a doctor and has not attended a medical college is sometimes able to practice medicine by practical knowledge of how to perform a surgical operation, how to mix medicine, and how to give certain medicines for certain diseases. A person can receive a certificate and be registered as a medical practitioner in the practical field. He can do a medical man's work and be known as a doctor. Although qualified medical men may consider him a quack, the government will recognize his work. Especially in India, there are many such doctors who perform their medical services perfectly. They are accepted even by the government. Similarly, if one is engaged in medical service or occupational duties, he must be considered a Brahmin, despite the family in which he was is born.
That's inconceivable how they're able to do that in India. Like I've also heard that if somebody they're not able to finish their medical training, they flunk. But they have some medical knowledge. They can still put a sign out, medical treatments here, and it's accepted by the government. It's inconceivable in the West. Inconceivable that they can do that, But it's by the person's quality of work.
Right.
So, yeah.
And that people are more personal there. People know that person. And so,
Oh, yeah.
you know,
Oh, don't go to him. You'll be sorry.
right.
Yeah.
And
I used to have 5 fingers. I only have 4. Don't go to him. Yeah.
When it said he can perform operations, my conditioning went, whoa. But,
Yeah, it's different. Yeah.
you know, depends what kind of training. And a true democracy. India is true democracy.
Yeah, but the point I guess the Prabhupada's making is that it's by a person's
Qualifications.
work, yeah.
And
it's not by, like we have that problem with gurus. You know, after
Right.
Prabhupada left, it was a little confusing. You know, where they were appointed gurus. Yeah, but where, you know, are they qualified? You know, and obviously many weren't. You know, so it's always by the quality of the person's work. You know, I think Prabhupada also a lot of times he would appoint people to do things that, hoping that they would come up to the standard. Because he apologized at the end. He apologized. He said, I've accepted too many unqualified disciples. Well, it was an emergency. So he had to plug people in, whether they could do it or not, and hope they could do it. And if they didn't, well, you know, we tried.
Yeah, I like to think that he was hoping that we'd correct each other, that we'd put in checks and balances amongst ourselves.
Society.
You know,
society.
and I think that in time that will manifest itself.
Well, yeah, take the rough edges off.
You cited gurus. I was thinking, I have trouble finding qualified doctors. You talk to the doctor and he says,
What about
"Oh
a car
yes,
mechanic?"
you can eat anything you want and just take this pill." Then I say, "Well, I think I find another doctor."
A qualified house repair person.
Qualified. Yes.
Car mechanic. You know, it's like, good luck.
True. Yeah.
I know we
I would leave it at this point.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
I
that
can
was
feel
a
some
nice.
pressure
There's a
coming.
lot of.
I gotta do some stuff.
Yeah,
No, seriously.
Yes. No. No. I think this was
good.
very nice. Thank you
Hare
for
Krishna.
joining us. Gaur-Hari, we have to go say hello to Gaur-Hari one day very soon. I'm back on the road as of yesterday. Jai to my mechanic. Thank you, Kṛṣṇa.
Hare Krishna, Hare. Smile.
Jai.
It's Madhu.
Madhu.
Madhu survived the session. Hare Krishna.
Thank
All
you.
right.
We might be back. Well, we'll definitely
so.
be back together, but
I
we
hope
might be
so.
back.
I hope so. Hare Krishna.
If nothing else, it's comic relief,
Madhu
right?
says, very nice discussion, heartfelt. Yes, thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. All right, we're gone.
Hari Bol.